The New England Patriots could be trading wide receiver Kayshon Boutte as we head into the 2025 NFL Draft. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Kobe, also known as Patriots Global. I appreciate you guys for clicking on today's video to hear me talk about the latest New England Patriots news. Whether you guys are watching this live right now or whether you're watching it back, I appreciate you guys so much for supporting the channel. Make sure on your way in to leave a big like on the video and, of course, subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news, reactions, and breakdowns. We will be going live for a day one watch party for the 2025 NFL Draft, just like we do every single year. So make sure you guys tune in to this channel, subscribe, and tune in, like I said, this Thursday for round one of the NFL Draft. We're going to be reacting to each and every single pick together. But you guys read that title correctly. Okay, this is not an opinion. This is not like a bold take that I'm putting out there. This is an actual report that is coming out from Adam Schefter. So for those who don't know, Adam Schefter released a list of players that heading into the NFL Draft, he feels could be traded. Excuse me, as I'm getting over an illness, as you can tell. But these players could either be traded within the coming days, they could be traded during the NFL Draft, or they could be traded right after the NFL Draft, depending how things go for each team. He released a list of players on who he thinks could potentially fit this bill. Kayshon Boutte was one of them. Now, I know a lot of you are going to wonder, okay, well, who are the other players that he listed that could potentially be traded? And I want to break those down for you real quick. So this is exactly what Adam Schefter had to say in his column. He said, and I quote, "Draft weekend is also a busy time for trades of players already on rosters. Here are a few players on rookie contracts who could be deemed expendable. Will Levis, the quarterback for the Titans. Treylon Burks, wide receiver for the Titans. Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge for the Giants. Evan Neal, the offensive lineman for the Giants. Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver for the Giants. Sam Howell, quarterback for the Seahawks. Tyree Wilson, edge for the Raiders. Greg Newsome, quarterback of the Browns. Travis Etienne Jr., running back for the Jags. Odafe Owe. I can never pronounce that guy's first name even during the draft. So I refer to him as Owe. Owe, the edge for the Ravens. George Pickens, wide receiver for the Steelers. Rachaad White, the running back for the Bucs. And wide receiver Kayshon Boutte for the New England Patriots. I think a lot of people hear this and everybody's going to be a little bit surprised. Why would they do this? This is really the only upside for wide receiver that they got this past year. And I think you have to look at this from a standpoint. Let me get back to this graphic. I think you have to look at this from a standpoint on the Patriots are only going to keep 6 wide receivers. So somebody is going to be on the outside looking in. When they signed Stefon Diggs was an immediate roster lock. So that was already going to push somebody off the roster. The Patriots kept 7 wide receivers this past year. It's expected that they're only going to keep 6. If you look at what Josh McDaniels did in his offense, you look at the amount of receivers that they kept, they only kept about 6, and that was usually including Matthew Slater. If you look at the Patriots depth chart, which, let me pull it up. Actually, do I have it? Yes, I do have the Patriots depth chart right now. So if you look at the Patriots depth chart right now, let's just real quick go through the receivers that we feel are already locks, right? So you got Stefon Diggs. You feel like he's a lock. Demario Douglas, got to feel like he's a lock. Matt Collins, I don't want to say he's 100% lock, but I feel like he's pretty close to a lock. I also think that Jalen Polk, he's going to be a lock too. He was a second-round pick. The Patriots came out and said that, the big reason that he had a down season, he was inconsistent this past year in his rookie year, was because of how the Patriots utilized him, right? They didn't use him right, and they put way too much on his plate. That screams, that was our bad. That wasn't on Jalen Polk. So that's already 4 wide receivers that I think are locks here. Then you have Kayshon Boutte, who could potentially be in the mix. Then you have Kendrick Bourne, who could also be in the mix, a veteran who's a very good on-the-field presence that had one of his best statistical years under Josh McDaniels back in 2021. You got to think that McDaniels would love to have Kendrick Bourne still on the field. And then you also have Javon Baker. If they draft a guy in rounds 1 to 5, that is now 5 wide receivers that are locks to make the roster heading into training camp, which means that you would have Kayshon Boutte, you would have Kendrick Bourne, Javon Baker, Jaquay Jackson, the other receivers they potentially bring in as UDFAs, all of those guys would be competing for the final roster spot. With that being said, one of these guys has to be expendable at some point, and if the Patriots can get some type of draft capital for one of these guys, they might end up doing so, especially because we have to understand this is a new regime. So the regime that drafted Kayshon Boutte isn't the same regime. It's actually two different regimes, right? Because we went through the Jerod Mayo regime, the Alex Van Pelt regime. Now we're into the Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels regime. They didn't draft Kayshon Boutte, so they don't necessarily feel like they have some obligation back towards him. And if they can get some type of draft compensation that they feel is going to help the team right now, they might ultimately end up doing that. But now it comes down to my opinion. Do I think that the New England Patriots should trade Kayshon? And in my own personal opinion, no. At the very least, they should not do it right now. And I want to pull up some stats here. Oh, that's not what we want. We want to share the screen. Let me real quick. All right, there we go. We're doing this live, guys. We're doing this live. So make sure you guys can see this. We'll do it this way. So these are Kayshon Boutte's numbers from this past year. Let's remember, too, that when they drafted him in the 6th round back in 2023, Kayshon Boutte, heading into that 2023 season, his final year in college at LSU, he was viewed as a potential first-round selection. The reason that he slid all the way to the 6th round was because he fell off significantly in his final year at college, and he had a really, really bad combine. There were also some character concerns that started to come out. The NFL is very much, what have you done for me lately? They don't care about what you did 2 years ago, 3 years ago in college. They don't care about the records you broke in college. They care about what did you do in your final year. That's why somebody like Matthew Golden is being talked about as a first-round pick. Matthew Golden, before his combine, was never talked about as a first-round prospect. But again, because what have you done for me lately? Because he's flashed at the right time, now Matthew Golden's being talked about as a first-round prospect. Same thing goes for Kayshon Boutte, but it's on the other end. He was talked about as a first-round prospect, fell off at the worst time, ended up becoming a 6th-round projection. In 2023, that first year, he had some really good moments. He had good moments against the Dolphins. He had really good moments against the Eagles week 1, but he was a rookie. And because he made those rookie mistakes, he couldn't keep 2 feet in bounds, in that game against the Eagles on that had to convert 4th down. Because of that, he was in Bill Belichick's doghouse. So we didn't get to see much of him his rookie year in 2023. But in 2024, we saw him hit the ground running. Now, early on, we didn't see him do too much with Jacoby Brissett. Boutte really didn't have much of a connection with Brissett, but he had a really, really good connection with Drake Maye. And that's the most important part to this, because if he had a connection with Jacoby Brissett, but didn't have that connection with Drake Maye, then we'd be talking about, okay, well, there's really no point in keeping him here. Like, he really should be expendable because that quarterback isn't on the roster anymore. But the quarterback he was building a chemistry with, the quarterback that he clicked with immediately, is your quarterback of the future in Drake Maye. I mean, that first game that Drake Maye played against the Houston Texans, Kayshon Boutte went off. That was not just a welcome to the league game for Drake Maye, but that was a welcome to the league game for Kayshon Boutte. I mean, Boutte was asked to be the Patriots' #1 wide receiver all year long. He was utilized in terms of snap count more than any other Patriots wide receiver, especially down the stretch with Drake Maye. He was asked to be their #1 X receiver. He was the guy that was going up against #1 cornerbacks any given week. And that game against the Texans, he went up against Derek Stingley. What did he do? He cooked him on a go route for a 45-yard touchdown headed into halftime for Drake Maye's first touchdown. You also look at that game last season, their second game against the New York Jets, and he had really good moments, some pivotal key plays, some clutch plays against Sauce Gardner, who's considered one of the best cornerbacks in the league, in order to set the Patriots up for a game-winning drive and a game-winning touchdown. I wonder what Kayshon Boutte could look like if he wasn't asked to be the #1 guy, because he's not, okay? Kayshon Boutte was not drafted to be a #1 guy. He was drafted to be a depth piece, to be a complementary piece to your #1 guy. Realistically, Boutte is a #3. At best, he could be a #2, but he should never be a #1. So if he is making these types of plays against #1 defensive backs, some of the best defensive backs in the league, what could Boutte look like when the Patriots have a true wide receiver 1, when Drake Maye has a better offensive line, more time to throw. The receivers have more time to get in and out of their breaks. And Kayshon Boutte also has a real offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels. What could he look like going up against number 2, number 3 cornerbacks? Because I think he could still be a really, really good complementary piece. And he sits at about 5'11", 6 foot. He mainly played as an X receiver for the Patriots, but at LSU, he played everywhere. At LSU, he played outside. He played inside. I think Kayshon Boutte is one of those guys where you can line him up in multiple different places. He does not strictly have to be this outside X receiver that the Patriots asked him to be, because he's not a 50-50 ball catcher, right? He's not your Javon Baker. He's not your N'Keal Harry. He's a little bit more of a technician who is able to make those contested catches. This past season, he played 79% of the Patriots' offensive snaps. The year prior, he played only 35%. You have to look at 2023, that rookie year, as essentially a redshirt year for him. So the way that I see 2025 is that this is Kayshon Boutte's second year of development. I consider last year his true first year of development. And he was able to put up 589 yards and 3 touchdowns with an overall receiving grade of 62.5. To go along with that, he was averaging 13.7 yards per reception. I believe that also led the Patriots. And when Jacoby Brissett and Drake Maye were throwing to Kayshon Boutte, they had a passer rating, of 94.7. Look, Boutte wasn't perfect. I'm not telling you that he is. But he's a pretty good run blocker. He has clutch moments. And he was playing well above, realistically, he should have been. And I think you have to look at compensation. Because if you're trading him for compensation. Is trading Boutte, who you spent a 6th-round draft pick on just 2 years ago, is the 5th-round draft pick that you're going to get in return for him really worth it? At best, at absolute best, the Patriots somehow get a 4th-round draft pick. But even then, I don't see that. The wide receiver market is not what people think it is. DK Metcalf, who's one of the most freak athletes, prolific wide receivers out there, a true number 1 guy. He went and got traded for a 2nd-round draft pick earlier this offseason. So Kayshon Boutte, a 6th-round draft pick, who's more of a number 3 kind of guy, realistically, what do the Patriots think they're getting in return for him? Me personally, the upside he gives you, the upward trajectory that he's on, the development that you can clearly see Kayshon Boutte is on is not worth the 5th-round draft pick that you're going to get. Even if the Patriots draft a receiver in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5, I would keep Kayshon Boutte. I would go into training camp with Boutte, with Kendrick Bourne, with Javon Baker, and I would see how those guys pan out. You're going to have a battle. This is going to be another year where the Patriots are having a battle at wide receiver in camp for who's going to make the final roster and who's not. I've been saying this for a year and a half now. The Patriots have a loaded wide receiver core. And when I say loaded, everybody gets on me because they think, wow, you think the Patriots have one of the best wide receiver cores in the league? Are you stupid? That's not what I'm saying. The Patriots don't have one of the best receiver cores in the league. But the Patriots have a lot of NFL caliber wide receivers. The Patriots have a lot of wide receivers that deserve to be on a 53-man roster. They don't have a number 1 guy. They don't really have much number 2 guys, to be completely honest with you. But what the Patriots do have is they have a lot of really good number 3s, number 4s, and number 5s. They have guys that can play as number 2s. They just don't have that true number 1, that coverage dictating wide receiver. And that's why it's going to be really, really hard for the Patriots to figure out what guy's going to make the roster. Honestly, if they feel like they need to get rid of a wide receiver right now because that room is way too crowded, get rid of Javon Baker, man. Javon Baker has proved absolutely nothing. And I loved the Baker pick. I was a big Baker fan in last year's draft. I was a big fan of the selection for the Patriots. And I do think there's a world in which Javon Baker and Josh McDaniels' system can look better. But Javon Baker has proven absolutely nothing to you. He's proven that he is a liability. He's proven that he is still young. He's still immature. The fact that in last year's offense, as bad as it was with, let's be completely honest with ourselves, with no strict coaching staff in the slightest. Javon Baker didn't know the playbook. Javon Baker couldn't line up correctly in practice. And because of that, as bad as the receiving core was, as bad as the injuries were last year, he still was not able to get any play time. Kayshon Boutte has at least proven something to you. He's proven upside. He's proven that he can be an NFL caliber wide receiver. So do not get rid of an NFL caliber receiver in a receiving core that is very much struggling here in New England, has a lot of question marks surrounding it, for a guy that has proven absolutely nothing to you and might not even be an NFL wide receiver in Javon Baker. If you're able to get a 4th round pick for Kayshon Boutte somehow, maybe we start to have a discussion. Maybe this is something we really start talking about. But a 5th round draft pick, which is what I think they would get in return, I don't think it's worth it. Because in reality, is the player that you are going to get in the 5th round, what are the odds that that player truly ends up being more impactful than Kayshon Boutte? Because again, he's not a number 1. He's nothing too flashy. But he put up just under 600 yards and a few touchdowns. If they can get themselves a number 1 and Kayshon Boutte slides in as your number 2, number 3, and he's putting up 600-700 yards on the season, I consider him a pretty big piece to this offense. But this is where I want to kick it to you guys. I want to get some of your comments. I want to see what some of you guys have to say before we roll in. The big thing to remember here, too, is with Kayshon Boutte, he's not someone that you are going to release and expect that you're going to get back on the practice squad. If you just release Kayshon Boutte, you're not getting him back on the practice squad. Some other team is going to claim him. But I want to see what some of you guys have to say about this. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to Connor, by the way. Connor, you have been in the chat since I originally made this stream last night. So shout out to Connor, man. Connor, I believe you said it's your cousin's birthday. Your cousin Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. Happy birthday to Tyler, man. Javon Baker might get cut in training camp. Jacob makes a really good point, too. I mean, Vrabel said no one is safe. I forgot he said that he said that, but he said something like you got to earn it. And he did that. And I 100% agree with it, right? Like, this is a new system. Mike Vrabel does not owe that respect to any player. To be completely honest with you, Mike Vrabel doesn't owe respect to Jalen Polk. He doesn't owe that respect to Javon Baker. Those guys were drafted in the 2nd and 4th round. But Mike Vrabel didn't draft them. Mike Vrabel wasn't here. If he feels like those players aren't fit for this system and aren't going to help the football team, he can move on from them 100% because he does not have ties back to them. My friend Pat comes in here. Pat the Patriot says, I'd trade him for a 4th, definitely. Would you guys trade Kayshon Boutte? Like, if the Patriots were able to get Kayshon Boutte for a 4th, would you guys trade him? My thing, too, though, with Boutte is like, let's say you got a 4th round pick. This is not one of those situations like it was with Joe Milton to where, oh, okay, I'll give you a 4th round draft pick if you give me Kayshon Boutte in a 5th. Hell no, man. I want that 4th straight up. I'm looking to add draft capital, not just move up a few spots. And I've heard this discussion, too, to where I've heard some people say about this topic that, Kayshon Boutte doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in this offense if the Patriots go out there and they draft a true X receiver. Like, if they go out there and they got themselves like a Ted McMillan, then Kayshon Boutte wouldn't really have a role. Or if they go out there and they draft the wide receiver from Ole Miss, Trey Harris, right? That's your outside X receiver. That's where Kayshon Boutte played this past year. So then your need for him doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because if you're drafting Trey Harris, you're drafting Ted McMillan, that's going to be your starter for you over Boutte. But again, Boutte does not have to be strictly an X receiver. That's never what he was. He could play the X. He had that contested catch ability. He had that contested catch upside, but he can play multiple different spots offensively. You can line him up in multiple different ways and find his mismatches. Again, he's not N'Keal Harry. He's not Devontae Parker. He's not a guy that you have to line up strictly in the X or you're not going to get any production for him. So I think that argument doesn't make a lot of sense. Right now, the Patriots need good wide receivers, right? Right now, I'm in the mindset of get as many good wide receivers as you possibly can, duel it out in training camp, and just fight it out. Best guys ultimately end up getting, a final roster spot. Now, obviously, you need some context behind it. The Patriots need different types of receivers. They can't just be like, oh, well, our top 4 best receivers, our top 5 best receivers are all X's. So I guess we're running an offense with 5 X receivers. Like, no, you do still need a guy who's going to be a slot guy. You need a guy with some speed. You need a guy who's going to be able to, have those contested catches. But I feel like Kayshon Boutte also fits what Mike Vrabel wants in a receiver. Again, Kayshon Boutte's not perfect. He had some bad drops this past year. In fact, I wonder if PFF tells us how many drops he had. Let me look that up. That'd be clutch if they did. But I might be kidding myself. They might not tell me how much he had. Let's see. Do they tell me? Okay, so oh wow, it's a little worse than I thought. So he had 5 drops this past season. So again, not the most ideal, but 5 drops on 67 targets, 43 receptions, 589 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But for the most part, again, Boutte has been a pretty reliable guy. He has that chemistry with Drake Maye. Drake Maye went to him in times of need. Kayshon Boutte is a guy with a pretty good catch radius. Like we said, he has that contested catch ability too. And Mike Vrabel said in his introductory press conference, he wants guys that are going to take that pressure off of Drake Maye. Guys to where they have a big catch radius. Guys who are good in contested catch situations. Guys who can take that pressure off of Drake Maye so he does not have to be perfect. I think Kayshon Boutte fits that bill. Does he fit that bill perfectly? No. I'm not telling you he's Mike Evans or anything like that. But I think he definitely can fit the bill of that type of receiver that Mike Vrabel said he wants. So for me, the list that Adam Schefter put out there, saying that Kayshon Boutte could be traded. And by the way, I want to say, there is a lot of reporters that come out around draft time that just want clicks, that need clicks, because there's kind of like that dead period between, the combine and the actual draft and pro days and whatnot. So there's a lot of people in the media trying to get clicks. That's not Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter's making a crap ton of money. This guy is already established. He does not need to go out there and have some bogus report to get clicks. If Adam Schefter says something, you are saying it and you are listening to it because you know it is legit. When Adam Schefter says something, he reports something, posts something, you listen and you listen well. So the fact that Boutte is on this list is for a reason. But I think if they're interested or they're at least listening to offers for Kayshon, I think they should be listening to offers for Javon Baker also. And you're probably not going to get much of anything for Javon Baker. You'd be lucky to get a 7th. But if you're going to make anybody expendable, that's the guy that I would be making expendable. That's just my opinion. But guys, I just wanted to hop on here real quick, give you a little bit of an update about where the Patriots are at heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. We got a lot of content to make. I apologize to you guys for kind of not falling off a cliff per se, but I've been a little bit more inactive on this channel over the last week or so. Your boy's been dealing with an illness, like sinuses and all that stuff, really bad cough. So just trying to be good, for the draft. We got a long few days coming up. As always, we're going to be doing a live watch party day 1 on this channel, reacting live to every single pick, reactions, all of that. Come on, guys, come join the party, have some fun, get live in the chat. We're going to be bringing up comments in the comment section. Patreon members are welcome to come on live on the show with me. We're going to have Rob from House Call on here too. It's just going to be an absolute great time. It's going to be a chill time, and we're all just going to react to what the draft happens and how it kind of just flows. We're going to react to it together, man. It's going to be a great time. My favorite part of the year. And we're right around the corner from it. As always, too, we are going to be doing draft breakdowns, draft profiles on each and every single one of the selections that the New England Patriots make. So we got our work cut out for us. We got a lot of videos to make leading up until Thursday. We got a final mock draft. We also got to get out there. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so that you get notified every single time that we post. Make sure you guys also leave a big like on the video. Help support me tremendously. Share the video with your friends and your family, any Patriots fans you got out there to join the Patriots Global family. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Patriots Global 2. Follow me on TikTok at Patriots Global, and follow me on Instagram too at Patriots Global. But until next time, as always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.